So 2 days ago, some fans of Veggie Tales posted a video in honor of how last year had been the 30th anniversary of Veggie Tales. They went through a first season episode, Rack, Shack, and Benny, a classic, and they reanimated the whole thing with modern capabilities and things like that. And I was really impressed. I watched it with my daughter earlier today, and I was really, really impressed. Because at first I'm like, are they just gonna, like, beat for beat do it? What's the point in that? But they really gave themselves some wiggle room. You go and watch it, and they give opportunities that the early animation, especially when Big Idea was such a small upstart thing, didn't have the opportunity to do. They give costuming to characters that might have had a hat, or, I mean, Mr. Nezzer had a bit more in the initial special, but they take their time and they give costuming. George, the security guard, gets a really, really nice outfit, which is entertaining to me because in college we had a security guard named George, and I always thought of this cartoon, and his outfit kind of reminded me a bit more of the George I knew. The textures there, it looks really like a more recent VeggieTales episode. And what I love is, like I said, they don't just copy it bit by bit. They make the factory different enough that it's their own thing. It actually gives me kind of an Amazon vibe to the place, which in the 21st century is cool. They populate it with so many more employees and different kinds of employees. They have a lot more employees down on the floor, and they're not all peas, and I think initially the peas are used earlier on because the peas are much easier to animate. They're not more complicated. They have a whole variation of different characters that are in the shop, in the factory, and they don't just leave it to, so like in Rack, Shack, and Benny, we have Mr. Lund as Mr. Nezzer's backup guy, you know, and he eventually adds Rack, Shack, and Benny as junior executives. They get to wear ties. But what I liked seeing is, again, they add, so they have a whole crew of people that have already apparently been, like, either a junior executive or they're part of the executive team. And since the lines are there, I assume they're supposed to be pre-existing junior executives that have been on the team. And all different veggies. Again, and then we have, like, fun little cameos. Like, we have Madame Blueberry working as a secretary, and all these little things that are just sprinkled throughout. And it's really, really cool. And then they redo the silly song. And it was at the silly song. I was watching it and going, like, are they changing some things here and there? Is it a little, not just the costuming and stuff, but, and then I'm listening to the silly song, and I know my silly songs. I'm like, they are doing some remixing or adding of something. They are doing bits that are their own thing, and that's kind of cool. And I appreciate we still got the same vibe of the costume from the silly song, but they are their own thing. I like Junior's new mouse ears. They're mouse ears. They're at Epcot. They're not saying it, but they're at Epcot. So I liked the little vibe there. I loved when Junior has his flashback to his mom singing to him, that instead of it just being some random modern bedroom, it is Junior in a biblical thing. So it's although we're at a chocolate factory and stuff, it is relaying that this is the book of Daniel in a way that I don't think the original one did. And that's fine, because it's parabolically telling the story, so I have no problem with that. But I enjoyed that. And again, that takes more effort, money, ability that wasn't available when this first came out to do so much like that. So it's more populated. There's more stuff going on. And then the costuming, I really enjoyed the costuming. They go for like this 20s kind of vibe with certain things, especially like the music and the background singers. And they have Mr. Nezzer, not just like being surrounded by bunnies in a dark room, but like it goes as full on, like we see the band. We also see a band in the silly song, which is very, very fun. And it just keeps going and going and going. And even on the kitchen counter, there are things that are just a little different. And I know how different these are because I went and pulled out my phone. We put the special on our smart TV. And I played the original Rack Shack and Benny on my phone without sound. And watched the other thing. So I was kind of looking back and forth and going, wow, like, there really is some stuff. They choose different angles. Sometimes even like in one version, the original version, they're on the left. So on this new version, they're on the right. And just different little things that make it just enough their own to make it part of the fun of it. And just with some more detail in the kitchen, same color scheme stuff. It's a nicer looking sink and things like that. But I was so impressed, and I'm not alone. Phil Vischer, the creator of VeggieTales, he was impressed. He commented on it. So if you like VeggieTales and you want to see a love letter that fans made for 30 years of our favorite talking, singing fruits and vegetables, because a lot of them are fruit, please go check it out. It's on YouTube right now. I don't imagine it'll be there forever. Phil does not own it. That's a whole other video. Phil has no control over VeggieTales, and I want to say Universal currently owns it, and they use the audio. Are they tweaking some stuff? Yes. Do they pause at some points and maybe even add a little thing here and there? Yes, because I could really tell because I was watching them concurrently and had to like pause the original video a couple times because I'm like, oh, this is being spread out. But it's the audio. Those are their lines. That stuff. Phil is still Bob the Tomato. It's not a fan dub over fan animation, so I don't imagine it'll be online very long. It's been there for 2 days, so go check it out. I'll put the link in the doobly-doo and enjoy it. It was a fun blast in my past. Watching something. My kid didn't notice it was different than the one she's seen before, but we watched them all at random. But I was very impressed. Okay, guys, I'll see you tomorrow for the last day of VEDA.